Well, welcome to this episode of Did She Really Say That? And I promise you, Dr. Julie Pham is going to have you saying this a lot because we're talking about respect. And it's so important as we're developing ourselves as entrepreneurs and as women in business. One of the things that we're always asking for is to be respected. Then we want to be respectful. And so there is going to be some interesting conversation around this, but I am excited for this conversation. Julie, do I call you Dr. Julie? Do you want me
Call
formal
me,
on
call
this
me
with you?
Julie. Call
Just
me
call
Julie,
you
please.
Julie.
Yes,
We're
yes.
just gonna call her Julie, ladies. So I'm excited to have you. So let's share a little bit about your background and how you got into respect.
All right. So my background is I have to start with I'm a Vietnamese refugee. My parents started the first Vietnamese language newspaper in the Pacific Northwest, and I grew up with that newspaper. I thought I was going to be an academic, so I trained as a historian, and then I decided to leave academia, and I came back to Seattle in 2008 to help run my parents' newspaper during the Great Recession. So that was my real life MBA, and then after spending 3 years there, learning so much, really tired of making no money. I went into the tech industry for 9 years and I learned a lot. I got my second real life PhD in organizational development, real life PhD, just like
Yes.
real life MBA. And I started
Yes.
Curiosity Based in 2021 at the middle of the pandemic. And it's just been so much fun. That's what I've been doing ever
So
since.
let's talk about this real quick. As women, I'm gonna pick your brains and I'm gonna make you listen into this because I love what you said. It's like it's a real life, degree. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the chasing of certifications. I hear this all the time with women. Oh, I've got to get another certification. I got to get another certification. I have to have this, like, numbers, letters, whatever behind me. Like, can we have a serious, honest conversation? Is that really needed?
I really don't think so. I really, and I ask people, do you need a degree or do you want to learn? Because if you are
Mm.
just trying to learn, you don't actually need a degree. If there are some things where you absolutely do need, I mean, I want a doctor with an MD, right? Like
Yeah.
there's,
No, but there, I mean, the doctoral, like, there's the work you've done behind
Mhm.
that too. And for what you're doing. So I get that, but I feel like everybody's like, I need a coaching certificate. I need this certificate.
No.
I need this, something to validate who I am in the world.
Yeah, and I am a big believer in just getting that experience in real life. I mean, even with an MBA, people say, "Oh, it's so great for networking." Well, go network. You don't actually need to go to school and pay over $100,000 for that. Go network.
There's a truth bomb right there for you, ladies. So curiosity base, we talk about this. What makes us curious? Have we gotten away from being curious? Have
I
we forgotten how to be? I mean, I know
I
curious, but
I think we are all curious, and I think we're in environments that make it difficult to practice curiosity. So
okay.
usually we describe curiosity as a trait, as something you have or you don't have. And I actually think of it as a practice, that it's
Okay.
something that we've got to
Work.
practice, that work
Okay.
on. And sometimes I don't want to practice curiosity.
Okay.
And I actually think that admitting when I don't want to practice curiosity, that is real leadership. Because otherwise I hear people
Ex
all the time, oh, Katrina, we just need to be more, you need to be more curious. It's just like, it's kind of just,
what does that
I'm curious, you're
mean?
not, right?
Yeah.
And it's just actually, what's going on in this space, this environment that's making it hard for us to practice curiosity. One of my favorite stats is 70% of people say they find it difficult to ask questions at work. And so then I'm like,
Mm.
why? What's going on? I don't, I truly, I mean, I do think that there are some people who, maybe their form of curiosity is not asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. I think people typically think curiosity is just in asking questions. I think a lot of curiosity is about listening.
Agree.
Hmm.
I think listening is an underdeveloped skill in a
Hmm.
lot of ways because I think in your listening, you answer a lot of your own questions that might come up. So, how do we develop the ability to say, no, I'm not curious? And how do we develop that listening of curiosity?
Saying, hey, right now I just can't practice curiosity, that requires a lot of vulnerability. And that
Oh,
requires a lot of inward curiosity. So when I say curiosity as a practice, I think of it as having these three elements. The first being self-awareness, the second is relationship building, and the third is clear communication. So that first one is inward curiosity. So even being able to ask myself, why am I feeling a certain way right now that's making it really difficult for me to listen to what that person is saying? And I've got to own that. I
Okay.
mean, I'll just recently, even just at work, there was some changes that some of my team members wanted to make, and my first reaction was like, no, no. And I really had to walk away, write down my pros and cons, come back. And when we had a meeting, and I left changing my mind, even though coming in, I was like, I have very
Yeah.
strong opinions. And it was very, very difficult for me to practice curiosity.
Is part of that I call it kind of call that the pause because like you said in there, she walked into the room, you walked in, you said, here's a change, and you're like, eek! Like I get that all the time. Like I have moments I'm like, I so resist in the beginning. But then I'm like, go, change my mind, kind of also like what you say. Is that pause between where you're like, and like pros and cons, is that a space that's often neglected? I mean, do we feel like we don't have time to kind of take that pause before we jump into, our reaction, I guess, to it?
Yeah, I think there's the pause and then there's the step away and come back. Because sometimes a pause is not enough. Sometimes
Okay.
I actually need a few days, maybe even more time than that.
Okay.
There's an expectation that people are smart when they know how to answer right away.
Yes.
And even I'm a big believer in when interviewing someone, give them the questions ahead of time because you will get much better answers. And I
Mm,
think some people think, oh no, I want to see how they think on their feet. It's just what you will find is there are some people who are better verbalizers, or maybe they have canned answers, versus those who just need some time and space to think through that. So I think that there's a lot of expectations of answering immediately. I think that also technology has done that to us too.
yeah, everything gets answered instantaneously. And I think that's because as you're talking, I'm like thinking of myself. So I'm like, yeah, I struggle trying to give answers to my podcast guests. Like, what are the questions I'm going to ask ahead of time? Because I'm very reactionary in terms of just being able to listen and ask a different question. But there are those, like you say, that just need a little more structure in how and what's going to be asked during these interviews. And I think it's a good reminder to myself, Julie, because you kind of always look at the world through your own eyes,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and you don't take the step back to like look at how it might be viewed for somebody else. Do you feel like between men and women, because we're talking to a predominantly female audience, do we find that for us, we've got to have an answer right away? Like, do we feel as women that and this is maybe really general, so even my listeners, like, take this with a grain of salt, but do you feel like we as women have to have the answer right away? Or like, because I feel like sometimes we do need a day or two to kind of really process what we're getting in.
I think that we might be judged more if we don't have answers right away, depending on the context. And so there's so many variables here,
Okay,
right? There's
agree.
so many variables. What kind of field do you work in? What's your position? Oh, are you comfortable with being if you are introverted, are you comfortable with being that, or do you feel that you have to be more extroverted? I think that there's so
Mm,
many variables, so I don't want to generalize.
okay, I respect that.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect because I think it comes back down to again what I'm sharing is like the self-awareness, right? Now
Mhm.
that you're talking to me, I can find myself at different times going, yeah, there's times when I've even come back to podcast episodes that I've, replay in my head going, that was a really good, conversation. I really wish I had a little more time to develop it out.
Mhm.
So there's almost that sense of just self-awareness in that journey. So you said the first thing around curiosity is definitely the self-awareness.
Mhm.
The second thing is the relationship. So let's talk about, is that the relationship?
The relationship building.
So okay, so what is the
Yeah.
relationship building?
So so in this, curiosity is about having a conversation. So it's not just about me asking you a whole bunch of questions. It's actually also me telling you some things about myself so that you react to what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then in your reaction, I get some learning. And then that there's that back and forth. So I actually have a negative reaction to when I hear people say, it's not my job to educate you. You've heard
Mm,
that said, right? It's not my job to
yes.
educate you. And my reaction to that is I'm not looking for an education. I'm looking for
Mm,
engagement. And if you feel that you have nothing to learn from me and that it's just a one-way thing, then I actually don't want to be in conversation with you. And that is actually not curiosity, right? And so, and so this is the practicing curiosity. There's inward curiosity and then there's outward curiosity, and it kind of just goes, then there's this reciprocity and it goes back and forth, that
mm,
bouncing. And that's where that relationship building happens. And actually, I, in pausing to test if I'm actually ready to practice curiosity with someone, especially when I don't want to, or when I'm in disagreement, I have to, there's a speed bump. I have to ask myself two questions. And the first
okay.
question is, do I want this person to learn from me?
Mm,
Yes. And the second question is, am I willing to learn from them?
mm,
Is there that possibility that am I open to that? And here's the thing, it's totally fine if you're not. It's
okay.
totally fine if you're not. That just means don't have that conversation yet.
Okay.
Because oftentimes I think we really want to, and I've been there too. I'm like, I really want to think of myself as ready. And I go in and 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 I've been on the other end of this where it's, oh, that person says they're ready to listen, but they're not. And I've
Mm,
been there too where I'm just, oh, I think I'm ready, but I'm not. And can I actually say, I need to think about this some more? And I'm not ready to have this conversation because that goes back to there's so much expectations for us to just answer things immediately.
yeah.
Why do you need more time? Why can't you answer this now? It's like, because I just need more time.
Yeah. And that's usually like something I've had actually learn. When I was doing self-development, I always felt like I had to like have the answer right there or get them scheduled on my calendar right then and there. And the learning to pause, learning to step back and create the space was one of the most eye-opening pieces of my own personal development because I stopped trying to please everybody. And I think that for me became part of the people pleasing aspect of it was I was just ready to do everything for everybody, but I wasn't curious about what was driving that
Mhm.
desire to just be constantly serving everybody else. Because there was something over here with me that, I had to open up the Pandora's box, right? I had to go inside and say, okay, what's triggering this reaction? What is causing this for me to feel this way around this person? And one of the interesting things in my journey, and I'm just would love to hear if you have anything or if you need to pause this one. But sometimes I hear or I've heard that if I have somebody says something to me, my reaction is a mirror. It's like I'm like how a person, like if I meet somebody for the first time and I have like a visceral reaction to them, it's like holding up a mirror to myself, like something either they're wearing, something about their tonality of voice, something that maybe I'm either hidden or shied away from or don't want to be like, something around that piece, like especially when we're in conversations with people as we're building those relationships. Does that
So
make
do you
sense?
mean so do you mean that if you're having a negative reaction to someone, then you have to ask
Yeah.
yourself, why are you having that negative
Yep.
reaction? I think this comes up a lot around money
Ooh.
and
Okay.
around how people spend money,
Okay.
right?
Tell
Because
me
it's
tell me
because
more.
if I'm having a reaction to, oh, they're spending money frivolously, or they're not spending, or they're being miserly, then that
Mm.
really is what is my what are my expectations around how money should be spent?
Ooh,
And
I
that
just got
and
called
yet
out.
we oftentimes we're just they're the problem.
Mm,
They're not making a wise decision, whatever that decision is. And yet we're not asking ourselves, huh, what are my money stories?
that's a good one. Yep. What else you
So
got for me? I'm over here like learning with you. I'm like, yep, yep. Julie's got this kind of nailed on the head. All right, let's continue. All right, so what are my money stories? What other questions might I be asking myself?
just what are the another one that I'm just having I'm an oldest daughter. And sometimes I'm reacting to other people who are being oldest sister to me, and I'm
Mm,
reacting negatively. And I realize it's because I'm normally in that. And then I have this awareness, am I that annoying? Like, am I that bossy? Right? So, Why am I irritated right now? It's because I'm really the one doing that role. So, so
I
there
could
are
see
so
that.
many, in all of this, I mean, in my work, I like to say that we belong to multiple identities, communities, and cultures at the same time. And so I think of practicing curiosity-based inclusion to really think about how we belong to those different identities and how at any given time in any different, any conversation, some part of our identity is popping up.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think this,
Is it that one where I'm the oldest sister?
mine's the middle child syndrome. So I'm
Yes,
trying to
right.
please both sides. I think that's my people pleaser. I'm trying to take care of the older ones, take care of the younger ones, please the family. Like
Hmm.
I am, the problem solver on all ends of the spectrum. So
Hmm.
I can see myself at that one. So when we talk curiosity, and I know when we were previously talking, part of curiosity comes around to around respecting people. And I
Well,
know, yeah, so go ahead and share a little bit on that
so
one.
it's actually it's about how do we have curiosity around respect itself?
Okay.
Because oftentimes when people talk about respect, they talk about it as respect versus disrespect.
Okay.
So if I'm not getting respect the way I want, that
Then it
means I'm
must be
being
just
disrespect. And what
okay.
we're not asking is, do you have the same definition as me? What's your
Mm,
definition? How do you,
interesting.
and that is because often in my research, when I was starting to ask people about, for my book, Seven Forms of Respect, I would ask people, how do you want to be treated? This is before I even had the word respect. And then they said, with respect. And I said, well, what does respect mean to you? And people would talk about the golden rule.
Do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Yes. Right. But, and
That's
that is,
still vague.
yeah. But the thing is, what if people don't want what you want?
Mm,
What if people don't want to be treated the way you want to be treated? And so then I actually have what I call the rubber band rule.
okay.
And so in the rubber band, and so I actually I like to carry a rubber band to illustrate here.
Ooh, I
So
like where Julie's going with
yes,
this. Yes,
so here's
okay.
I've got this blue rubber band in my hand and I'm stretching it. And so there are times where I'm I'm kind of just I don't really care about, for example, um, preparing for meetings with a lot of meticulousness, but I know that if I'm going to go to a meeting with uh, Bob, he really wants me to be on
Yes.
time, ready, right? And so I stretch for him, right? And so how often are we kind of stretching for other people because we know that they like it? And that's actually something we often take pride in. I mean, Katrina, you said you're a people pleaser, so I bet you're like,
Yes.
I can tell, I can
Yes.
stretch, and so and actually, it's good for us to stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem is when we find ourselves stretching so much, and we're
Ooh,
stretching
we're
and
gonna
stretching and stretching
snap.
that we snap and break like a rubber band. And so the rubber band rule is about knowing what are my breaking points? What's going to make me snap? And that is different for everyone. And
Okay.
that's also different in different situations because I'm way more stretchy at home than I am at work.
Okay. That's valid.
And that goes back to that first element of practicing curiosity, the self-awareness part.
Mm,
I have to actually ask myself, how do I want to be respected? And what is that based on? What are the experiences in my life that have informed that?
mm.
And then how do I communicate that with others? Because often we don't. We just say that person was disrespectful or toxic and I'm leaving. And we
But we
don't actually
don't.
ask ourselves, what were my expectations?
Mm,
And did we actually have any conversation about how we might have different expectations? So, again, that's around how do we practice curiosity around respect?
I think there's like a whole world that's like opened up in my brain over here. So thanks, Julie, for that. Because now there's a new door. But I look at, from multiple things, like kind of what's going on in the world right now. Just seems like we're all feeling disrespected. And I'm like, if I breathe, I'm disrespecting, So there's that sense of just tiptoeing around everyone. So in this in this conversation, how do we, or in this almost kind of, in some places it feels more tense than others. So how do we kind of break down that tension, I guess you can say, in terms of what is respect, what is that curiosity, like how do we find mutual ground, I guess, with somebody? And because this applies for, I hear it all the time. So as women entrepreneurs, we're told to create competition. So, or we're told that we have to stand up in a certain, political realm or religious realm or something like that. Like it just kind of feels like there's this one or the other dueling fight going on. And so I often wonder as women in business that are trying to bridge this gap, because I definitely feel as women, we're really trying to bring humanity back
Hmm.
together.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because there's asking for questions around, I just want to go for a walk in nature. I want to just kind of reconnect to human beings again. I just want to find what makes us, what brings us together instead of what tears us apart. So, do you find that, I guess my question is in this world of respect and curiosity, are we focusing more on the negative, or are we focusing more on like not what's different, but more of like what connects us? Is that a duality of what you're teaching?
Mm, I think so. In my work, it's focusing on the small things
Okay.
and thinking that all of these small actions, these seemingly small stories, actually do form a bigger picture. And
Okay.
yet we have to be aware of the small things. So, because if otherwise we say respect, and that's a really big, vague word, right?
Okay. Yes.
Right? But
Yes.
does that mean, for example, that I CC you on an email or not? Right? Because
Okay.
for some people, that means I'm included if I'm CC'd. And for other people, you're filling up my inbox and you're wasting my time.
Ah,
And so to
yes.
understand that actually all these little small actions do get interpreted
They
in
do.
different ways. And so, and if that means I'm interpreting it differently, that other people can be interpreting it differently too. And that's all rooted in something. So to find that, I don't know if it's about finding common ground, but actually just trying to understand that we all have experiences that inform our perspectives. The question I like to ask is who in your life and what experiences have informed how you think about respect?
Hmm.
And that really gets people to ground themselves in, this came from somewhere.
Yeah.
It came from an example is my mom was always late picking me up from school. And she was very busy and I had to wait for the school staff, or I couldn't go home until the school staff couldn't go home until I went home.
Gosh.
So I felt a lot of anxiety. And I carry that to today.
Mm,
I literally have that story. And so other people could have that same experience and say, what's the big deal? You
got it.
know? And so that's another thing. We can have different experiences. We can have the same experiences and different reactions. And we
Mm,
can have the same experience and different reactions. And so it's important to actually share the story and then also share, hey, this is my reaction to it. And that when I tell you that, you understand I'm not just being anal around time,
mm,
right? You understand, oh, it's coming from somewhere. And I
right.
think that's the part where we're not concrete and specific enough even with ourselves, because that requires a bit of inward curiosity, so that when we
Mm-hmm.
can tell that story, then it's just, oh, I get it. I understand now because people remember stories. If I were just to say time is important, punctuality is important, you would probably think, thanks. Thanks, mom. Like,
Yeah.
thanks. Like, you're lecturing me. And and so when we can just get at these stories, then that's where that connection builds.
Yeah. I think for me, that's the key piece. Like, and women, as you're building, businesses and you're building teams, I think that's one of the big things is as women, I often come across women that are afraid to hire somebody because they don't want to have the wrong person on their team. I think that comes into this conversation though, even in the interviewing process, is um knowing, what's important to each person. I mean, let's chat about that, because I feel like a lot of times we hire on in chaos mode.
Hmm. Hmm.
I need somebody, hire them.
Hmm.
And then we have a misalignment in who we're bringing in. So can we talk a little bit about, you know, because it does touch upon this, whether you are, believe it or not, ladies, you're going to be having people that you feel like are going to disrespect you um, in how you're growing your business. You're going to have multiple opinions out there. Julie shaking her head. She's like,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
So do you want to share a little bit about, that and what you've experienced or seen?
I will just say there's no perfect way to do anything.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, permission to screw up. Thank
Well,
you.
because the thing is, you just don't know.
Right.
You really don't know. I mean, there's just, hey, try this, try that. Some of the things I've done for hiring is I mean, my team is small, so just getting everyone to talk to that person, but then also getting that person to talk to people without me
Mm,
and to talk to the person who's leaving the role. Why are you leaving? What did you like about it? It's I remember that I have a colleague who is wonderful, and when I first brought her on, it was as an intern. She was not the most qualified person. The other
okay.
person was more qualified and seemed to be just on paper better. And yet there was something like, I don't know, there's something here. And so
Mm,
I actually, and I hate going back and doing a second round because I feel like I have a process and here I am violating the process. And yet I just felt, and this is another thing, trust your instinct,
yes.
right? She's like, I think I should go back. And if I had just gone through what our original process, which was hire the best person on paper, I would have hired the other person. And my colleague's been with me before the pandemic.
Mm,
And so she's been great. It's like, and she's really changed. And there was no way to predict that. There was
yeah.
no way to predict that. And so that could have turned out really bad. And I've also had ones where they were great on paper and I did hire them and it didn't work out. Right. And so I guess the permission is if it doesn't work, that doesn't mean you did something fundamentally wrong.
Yeah, she dropped another truth bomb right there. Yikes. She did say
Right?
that to you, by the way. Ladies, I hope you're hearing this. Like, that was a big power conversation right there. Yes.
And
That's
also,
good.
here's another thing, people change.
No. Seriously? Like, we don't stay I'm
Right?
not,
We
I'm
can
not
have
a
a
tree.
great relationship in the beginning,
Mm,
and then it's just like it's not working out anymore for whatever reasons.
yeah. And
A
that,
big,
go ahead.
a really big aha that I had as an entrepreneur at the end of last year. So this was me going into my ending my fourth year of business, going to my fifth year of business. And I was like, why am I not growing faster? I want to grow faster. And I visited my friend who just had a baby, and the baby is like 3 months old, can't even sit up. And it hits me, oh, we all go through stages. Humans go through stages, businesses go through stages, and we can't skip these stages.
We try.
Yeah, we try, but we
We
can't.
think we
Everyone's got to go through
can.
puberty, right? Everyone's got to go
Everyone
through.
thinks we don't have to get up and learn to walk
Right.
first before we start running.
And also, and I'm going through my stages. I mean, I've owned a business before, but this is really my first time being a CEO of my own solo, having all the responsibility.
Yeah.
And there are times where people are just like, "Did you have to say it that way, or did you?" I'm like, you know what? I'm figuring things out as a first time CEO. Because so there are going to be times where I realize that I have to be pretty clear, and that might come off as really hard. I mean, a colleague of mine just said, "Hey, you just pushed back in a way that was very unusual." And I said, "Yeah." And sometimes I'm learning to have to be really clear. And so, but going back to the stages, we are going through different stages. Our companies are going through different stages. We as women are going through different stages. And those journeys are happening simultaneously. And then, Katrina, other people in our life are also going through theirs. And here we are bumping up against each other. And so, how do we have grace
Yeah.
for ourselves and for others?
Yeah. Because it's as an entrepreneur, as a female entrepreneur, and you're starting your own business. What's one thing that you wish you could impart just knowledge wise on every female that's building a business or just ready to get started in building?
So,
Uh-oh.
when
She
you say
laughed.
one, and I'm
In
like,
case you
yeah,
guys
because
didn't
you're
hear
like
that,
one. I'm
there
like,
was a
okay, which
pause and
one?
she's
Which
like,
one?
ooh.
Which one? Right. I will say that there's this myth that, oh my gosh, I put all, I borrowed money on my credit cards and everything worked out. So, how about
Wait,
that?
you're telling me that doesn't always work? I have women laughing in the audience because they're like, yeah,
I
it
will
has done
say
that.
my second year of business, there was a lot of things going on. And then I think 6 months in to the year, I was just, oh, we're cash positive because I'm putting money in. That's not profit. I got to
Yeah.
manage my cash flow better. And then I talked to a friend and I was feeling horrible about myself. And then he was just, Julie, this happens.
Yeah.
And that was another thing I realized people don't talk about that.
Mm,
They talk about, oh, I borrowed money on my credit card and everything worked out. And now I tell people, oh, yeah, that second year, I wasn't monitoring. I was in the red that year.
yeah. Yeah. Same. There was times when the money was coming in second year and I was like, oh crap, like I've not managed this money for this bit because it is a little bit of a different mindset. No, it's a lot different mindset because we're taught how to treat money from an employee standpoint.
Mhm.
And when you're a business, that money actually has purpose and
Yeah.
intention.
And also, there are times where it will go up and down, and you invest it and you make these decisions, and it's not just constant growth and accumulation. It's not like this
Yeah.
401k and I keep setting aside money from my paycheck and putting it in. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. I think that's one of the shocking things as we go from an employee that's making a paycheck into entrepreneurship is that money is not fluid. It's not a consistent because like you said, you're gonna have to invest in yourself. You're gonna have to potentially invest for product or employment or someone coming into your business. So it's not like it's your personal piggy bank. And I'm gonna totally call myself out. There was a while I thought my business account was my personal piggy bank. Oh, I just need this for a new computer. Oh, I need like, and you get into this one piggy bank mentality, which I will tell you is it's the worst thing you can do. Do you have something that you've learned across the process for kind of you in terms of managing your money? Do you have a better process you're putting into
I
place?
mean, I will say I need to have 6 months of all expenses in my bank account.
Okay.
So I try to be, that gives me peace of mind. And also I share at the beginning of every month our cash flow.
Okay.
And so it's pretty transparent. And that's something I started doing after that second year. Because it was just,
So
oh,
wait,
it's
are you sharing it with your
team.
employee or your
Yeah.
team?
Yep.
You're totally transparent around money.
Like at the beginning of every month, it's like, here's the spreadsheet. This is where we're at. This is what we need to make by the end of the year to break even. And this is, it doesn't, there are buckets of like employ. So it's not like, hey, this is what exactly everyone is getting paid, but
Right, but it's the bucket.
here's the payroll bucket, right?
Okay.
Here are these buckets, and then here's what this is the this is the projected revenue, and this is what we need to make. And it's because after that second year where I was just I realized that I didn't want to try to come up with different narratives.
Mm,
And it was just easier for me to be like, this is where we're at. And and it's also like I'm willing to go into some reserves. That's
okay.
what's gonna happen. Yeah, that's what's gonna and I mean I just had to make the hardest business decision I made a few months ago was letting someone go.
Mm.
And I had to do that before I needed to do that.
What do you mean by that? You
Because I
needed.
could, it was just like, oh, because I have this conservative, I want 6 months, right?
Okay.
And with the economy, it's just like, I don't want to get into the position where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. It was more of like, this is, mm, this could be, this could happen. And also, what I also realized was technology has changed things a lot too. So
So
we as a
much.
business changed, right? Going into our fifth year, it's like, wow, there are things that I don't need done anymore.
Mm.
And like that, I said, no, like I'm not, for example, I used to do YouTube videos every week. That took up 20% of that employee's time. We don't do that anymore.
Because there's
So,
technology out there that'll do it for you. And
well, no, actually, because I'm like, I don't want to do a YouTube video every week.
yes.
In that case,
And
in that case, it
removing
was like
that.
YouTube videos do not give me joy. So
See the things you hear on this, right? She just dropped another. Did she really say that? She just gave up YouTube? Yes. You don't have to be everywhere. Now, do you, Julie?
I mean, someone
See?
is like taking all the content that we created over years and repurposing it. But Katrina, I don't have to get in front of a camera and memorize and put on full face and do this. No,
Okay.
no, not doing it anymore.
So, but the beautiful thing is that you've got content you've created for like what, last 4.5 years,
Yeah,
roughly?
exactly. So now we're just
You
repurposing it.
repurpose. People think like you've got to come up with new crap every single day. If it's in your brand language, repurpose.
Yeah, and
Nobody can remember.
it was not giving me joy.
If you guys can see Julie's face, she's like, no, that was a rubber band stretch that literally it
And
snapped and I'm
and I
done
was
with
waiting for
it.
that magical pop that people kept talking about. I'm like, pop's not coming. I'm not waiting for pop anymore. Like,
Yeah, it's just gonna happen. You're just gonna take off. You're gonna go vertical. It's like, yeah, but well, see, the thing is it never will because it doesn't bring you joy.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
think we try to force ourselves to do things that do not bring us joy.
Mhm, mhm.
I
And
will
this is
say,
another thing about being an entrepreneur is I learned it's not about managing my time, it's about managing my energy.
say that again. That was beautiful.
So it's not about, oh, this is how much time I need to spend on something. It's just what are the things that give me energy and what are the things that take away energy, and the things that take
Mm,
away energy, I need to delegate that, right? I need to project management takes away energy. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have someone else to do and someone on my team who loves organizing the Google Drive. Oh, thank goodness, because I
those are
don't,
my blueprinters. My
right?
blueprinters out in the
Right?
world. Thank God for you that love
But
Excel sheets and organization.
but the things that give me energy is I'm a writer. That's the reason why I started my business. I want to
Mm,
commercialize my content. And so that gives me joy, and that's something I'm uniquely positioned to do. And so I think really constantly monitoring what gives me energy and what doesn't give me energy. And because I'm super protective of that actually.
thank you for that. And no, I want you ladies to model that. And I want you to hear that too. It's not that I desire for you to model that because your energy is the most precious thing you have as a female. Actually, as a any human being. But I feel like it's so much, Julie, that we just throw that energy around and we don't ever refill it. What's your favorite way to reset your energy?
Oh my gosh, lazing around, turning off the phone, and reading novels. I'm a big library card user. I love
Mm,
fiction. I love historical fiction.
okay.
It's the cheapest and easiest way to time and space travel.
Agree.
And
Anything
so,
fiction.
yes, and so for me, I will spend a whole day where it's just phone off, in bed, and I'm a fast reader. So,
Hey, if you've been
not
reading
talking to
as much,
anyone.
no, I mean, I could read a book a day because I've just been reading for so long that there's times you just kind of either speed read or you just kind of get the gist of it and you're moving on through the whole thing. So that for me, I think you dropped so many truth bombs. I not even think I know you dropped so many truth bombs in here. Is there, and I know you've got a gift for those that are listening. So there is the free 7 forms of respect crash course. You got a crash course?
So you can go onto my website, curiositybase.com, and we have a free crash course on how to approach difficult conversations with curiosity. You get access for it for 2 weeks. And so sign up.
Ooh.
It's just 20 minutes. It's got some worksheets. So yeah.
I love it. And it's going to be in the show notes because we got the podcast. And like Julie says, I love doing podcasts because I can post it in one place and it gets done all for me. So I'm a lazy marketer. It's what I call
Mhm.
myself, and I'm really proud of it. And the other place you can find this is on YouTube, but those will all be in the show notes, and to find Julie, to connect with her. And I will say one thing for sure. If you are in business and you're struggling in any area, whether it's the money, your marketing, your personal brand, any of that, this respect crash course is going to give you, right, Julie, like just ways to really dive into your inner self because
Mhm.
we didn't really talk about community, but we say self awareness, relationship building,
And
community.
communication skills.
Communication. I did have
That
communications.
listen,
It
communication skills. So
says
that's the listening
community,
and
but it
asking
said
questions.
communications. Yes. But communication is the big piece of this. So
Mhm.
yeah. But thank you so much for being on with us. I mean, this is a fantastic. I hope you guys got some really good nuggets because I did, because she's so good at asking curiosity questions and getting me to think over here. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you. For those listening in, definitely connect with her, reach out to her, and spend some time getting to know her. Her links and everything are going to be down here in the show notes, and we'll see you on the next episode.